In this video, I'm going to go over how to use the Transpose tool on the Transform tab. The benefit of this tool is when you have data that is going horizontally across the columns, but you instead want it to go vertically across the rows. For example, in our sample data here, we have for some graphing calculators that are 13 plus with some average monthly sales, we see the sales are listed across the columns. Well, having sales across the columns is sometimes not conducive to work in Alteryx. So let's say we want to transpose these columns to be 12 different rows for this graphing calculator product instead of 12 different columns. To do that, we can drag the tool down to the canvas, and you'll see two separate boxes here. We've got our key columns, which is essentially what we're grouping on, and you've got your data columns, which is what columns are you looking to transpose. So if we just hit run right off the bat, we can see that all the data columns are selected, and what it does is it gives all of the column names in the first column and all of the values in the second column. However, that's not particularly useful in this example, so we only want to pivot the months. So let's select product category, suggested age range, monthly average sales. You'll notice that they're automatically deselected from the data columns. And if we hit run, you'll now see that for those columns that we selected, it's simply repeated the information, but what has been transposed are all of the months of the year and their associated values. Now, you don't have to have every box selected. So for example, if you just wanted to know for a given product, you could deselect those, have a couple of boxes unchecked, and you will see this information here. However, sometimes you don't want all of the products to be repeated in this fashion. Maybe, let's say we didn't have the monthly average sales, but we wanted to calculate it through these 12 columns. One way that I would do that is I would add a record ID to the canvas, and I would use that as my key column. So when I hit run, I know for the first record, I have all of the months and all of their values. From here, we can simply sum all that information by record ID. So we'll group by record ID, and we'll sum. Actually, we won't sum the values. We will take the average, and then we can simply join this data back to our main stream based on record ID, and we only want to append the average value. And we can see when we do that, we have retained all the fields, and this was the monthly average value that we had previously, and this is the one that we calculated. So the way we used it in this example is we said, okay, I don't want to know all the information about the products and the categories at this point. I simply want to pivot the fields that I'm looking to aggregate so that I can do some aggregation to them and join it back to my main data stream. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on the next one.